Hello guys and good afternoon. Welcome to the first ever F1 Community E-Prix race on F1 2019, and this was supposed to be Vietnam, but I kind of got my calendar wrong. So we're now at China because I got it all completely wrong. But welcome everybody to that, and I've joined by a special guest commentator who's joining us. She is one of the main commentators for the Apex Online Racing League. It is no one who is amazing. She is the Martin Brundle of AOR. It's Jess. Jess, welcome, and good to see you finally here.
Good to be here in the commentary box, Ryan, and good afternoon, everyone. We just had Tom's E-Prix, and now it's the turn of RyanL83's E-Prix, this time on the PC, and it's looking quite cloudy at the moment, so I'm guessing the drivers are going to be finding it a little bit more difficult to start off with, but we've got 18 drivers raring to go for this 50% race.
It shall indeed, and obviously these are members of the F1 community on the PC side, so it's good to see how this pans out as the drivers head out onto the track for the first time here. And Shanghai, Jess, obviously a track that is, well, a lot of people like this track a lot. It's a very popular one with a lot of people in the community. So what elements of this circuit will find the drivers that will find it really tricky to master this afternoon?
Well, in particular, the first few corners, turn 1, turn 2 and 3, that I just went past because the fact that it's a really tough braking zone and you've got to get right, and we usually seen people make good overtakes there that are very skilled in controls, but we usually seen a little bit of mistakes as well. And there's also turn 11 and 13 as well, which is really hard to get the traction in as well, because you have to really master that as well. And there's a lot of other corners that I find tricky on this track as well, but these are the major ones which I think the drivers will pretty much struggle on today. But it is up to them, and they may have setups geared which will help them with those corners, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Indeed. Have you got any favourites, Jess, from the list that we've got today, with 18 taking part today? And I would like to say I apologise because I got the timing zones wrong once again, as Jess will know. I bottle these sort of things, so it's not bad though for a first event, though, Jess, isn't it?
No, it's not. We've got quite a few people watching and quite a few people taking part. So we were speaking about this earlier on, and we've got one driver that used to be from PC Split 1 with us as well. In the is it Williams? Or, yeah, it's the Williams.
It's the Williams.
Yeah, Michael Lander. So it's great to see him there. I expect him to be quite quick as well. Obviously got Yamo as well, Jay, quite a lot of drivers who have raced in leagues before, and obviously we got Camp as well, who was brought in only last minute as well, because there was a few drivers that couldn't make it, so he hasn't had any practice, unlike the other drivers. So it's going to be a wake-up call for him, but he's used to doing stuff last minute, so I don't think he shouldn't have a problem.
Indeed, and it's good to see, obviously, as Jay goes very wide, actually, but I think he's corrected it very nicely. He's got his teammate behind him, who I believe is Jaumo, who is obviously well known in our community. You see a Renault spinning in the background there, which I believe is Malone, obviously, and just want to keep an eye on this guy here. As you can see, Jess, I don't know if you can tell, but it's raining right now, so this is going to really spice things up again in qualifying, so going to be very interesting there. But I just want to bring this driver into the equation, Kirby, who, if you guys don't know, is on a keyboard, and I respect him for this, that he's going to give it a go. And he's not a slouch though, Jess, is he?
Nope, he's not. I mean, I've seen him on the keyboard in ACC, and he's done absolutely incredible. And obviously, if you don't have a pad or wheel, you have no other choice to go onto a keyboard. And it looks like he's racing on a pad or a wheel, but he's not. I mean, it takes a lot of gut to go on a keyboard. When I play on a keyboard on the F1 games, when I used to, I just usually go off straight away in turn 1. But he does that very well, obviously. So I fingers crossed he gets a good result today. And, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Due to the fact that this quali is going to be quite short due to the weather, they got to get their laps in now. So the ones that are not out on circuit, they're not out on their out laps, they need to get with their laps very quickly, as Chasen just set the fastest lap so far, 1:33.4. You're most likely going to do mediums to hards, I think, if it's a dry race, because if you do softs, it only lasts about 5 laps. So a lot of people may just go on the mediums, but if they just want to get their laps in, probably the softs. But
Oh, sorry to interrupt you there. Just Malone makes a last changing decision to go into the pit lane and spins it actually off the circuit. So I think that's a bit of a fail for him there. I think it's getting a little bit too wet. Interesting to see, though, a mixed range of tyres on the track at the minute. So we've got people on softs with Chayton and Seppi, the top two. And then you've got people like Veerkamp, Rexon, Kazi and Joe all on the hard tyres. So lots of different strategies. And maybe we don't know something that the guys know in the lobby with maybe rain later in the race. We don't know. Obviously, we have got no inside sources, so we're in the unknown here. But it's going to be it'll be an interesting race. We know tyres around this track, Jess, are very bad, especially the softs. They go off after about 6 laps. I have been told from a few sources. So interesting strategic calls from the likes of Chasing and Seppi, and also Silver as well, or otherwise known in our community as the T-Boy, as he's done an actual stellar job, actually, P5, so pretty good, actually. But we will see a range of 2 to 1 stoppers from the pack, but obviously don't count out the safety car as well, and the virtual safety car that could also put a spanner in the works for some of these guys in this race as well. So we'll see, as we actually just see Malone again struggling on circuit right now, so it looks like it's getting a little bit damp for the dry tyres, and I don't think we're going to see any improvements actually on track. But 2 drivers have not set a lap time. One of them, who you've mentioned earlier, as the DRS has been disabled, so that definitely confirms that it is going to be it's going to be wet now, so it's going to be deemed too wet for anyone to set a decent time right now, because obviously there's no DRS. So this might have screwed Michael Lander up a little bit, but he crosses the line, and he doesn't. I think he's just started his lap actually, so he is definitely.
Yeah.
So he's definitely just cost himself a great chance. If he just went a little bit earlier, he would have just got away with it. But unfortunately, I think it's over as we see Rexon now coming out on the intermediates, it looks like, as well. So maybe he's getting a taste of the wet conditions, maybe for some TV time, obviously, or he can see that there might be rain for the race. So we might see some people maybe heading back out onto the track again, just to get a bit of a taste of the wet conditions for the race, potentially. So we're going to have to wait and see, actually, because it could get interesting. And very quickly, Joe, who was in the race, has resubscribed, so thank you, Joe. Appreciate it, back for 8 months in a row, so thank you.
Whoop, whoop.
Indeed, so we're just seeing, so we're going to go and watch Rexon, actually, because Rexon is out on circuit again, but we're going to see some times here and see who looks the quickest on the wets, on the intermediate tyres. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that, and see how things pan out for the Mercedes driver. And I think Rexon will be one of the contenders for the win today. I know him personally as a very quick driver. Also, Veerkamp, obviously, he's part of, I think he's still with Shizou at the minute, that I recall. So
yeah, he is. Yeah, he
is indeed. I should know that because I'm in Shizou.
Wow.
But no, Veerkamp is a very fast driver. And as you mentioned, Jess, he's just come in last minute as a reserve, and he's done a good job in P7, but obviously the weather has kind of stopped some people having a chance there. Now we've got less than 9 minutes to go. Obviously, some people have thought, nah, we're done for the session. They will sit it out. Whilst some people are back out on track on the Inters, so it's good to see a lot of people back out and getting on there. So we could maybe get some sources from the chat, because there are some people in this race who are now joining us. They could confirm if there is any rain for the race. And Jay has just told us that they are stressing in this race right now. So
so there could be rain. There could be rain.
There could be rain potentially, as Veerkamp has retired as well from the session. But it's good to see, though, some guys are heading back out again. Tom, welcome, mate, and well done on your race. I know you had issues on the PS4 side, so good stuff, mate, with the issues. You got that all resolved, and it was a good race to watch. So good for you, mate, and hopefully we get timings right this time, because I got it wrong again. So I can blame the recent time zone changes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the time zone changes has changed quite a lot for me as well. Because I was streaming a race this morning, and I was panicking on when I was going to start. So it is understandable, Ryan. But anyway, we still got a race anyway. And due to the fact a lot of people on the inters, right, is suggesting there could be a wet race, because otherwise why would they be on the inters? Otherwise there's no point. So, you know, it's quite a lot more people than I expected, and I think they're playing the right game for going out now, so they can get a better feel of what it's going to be like in the race. They may get faster, but that's probably going to be unlikely. But it will just give more of an edge compared to the ones who have retired from the race. Well, the session. We've got Rick, Veerkamp, Jarmo and Kazi that's retired, so they may be put at a disadvantage, whereas everybody else, they should be absolutely fine when it comes to wet conditions because they have a few extra laps under their belt.
Indeed, and obviously we're watching White Storm at the minute, obviously another former AOR PC Split 1 driver as well, so he is definitely one of my favourites to win this race. Actually, he is very consistent on lap times, and in the open obbies we've done on F1, he has always been at the top of the board in terms of consistent lap times, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on. And we're just going to try and see if anyone is actually on a lap time right now, as we see Silver in the Haas. He's going very nice and smoothly through this sector, the middle sector, very technical sector this one, and they've got to be very precise because you're going left, right, and then a very quick double left-hander coming up there, and he's got a Mercedes behind him, which I believe is I'm trying to think who it is now. Is Mark with a C, who is right behind him, and yes, we have got another Mark in the community now, so we're now going to call him Mark with a C on there. So, but good to see these guys actually fighting with each other, because actually we can see what the true pace is going to be like. As actually, never mind that battle, because Silver has just parked it on off the circuit, off the snail section, and he is backed off there for another lap. And another guy we have to mention, Mr. Camber as well, otherwise known as Punterino in our community. He's a newcomer to our actual community, and he looks good as well. To be fair, he looks pretty good, consistent pace as well. And the legend himself in our community, Joe, who is out of the session anyway, he's done for the session. As we've only got 5 minutes to go, Jess, but we're not going to see anyone drastically setting a new lap time, are we? Let's be honest.
No, I've never been in this situation where I had to get a lap in quickly. Usually I had about 5-6 minutes before the rain come. This time it was like 2 or 3 minutes. So it's a different kettle of fish. And don't forget, Ryan set the lobby to dynamic, so literally anything could happen. We weren't expecting stuff like this to happen, I can tell you now. So, you know, the drivers have mainly been practicing for the dry conditions. I haven't seen much people practice for the wets, and I think that could be a huge issue for some of these drivers, as we're already seeing people struggling in that S section at the start of turns 2 and 3. So it's getting quite tricky out there.
It is, and just seen Jay doing some Tokyo drifting through the middle sectors, and he's just trying to get his tyres warm. But you can just see him there wiggling the tyres just to get as much grip as possible. But there is now not a dry line emerging. You can see it's getting really, really damp that quickly right now. But you've got to say, Chasen and Seppi have done a brilliant strat call here, and starting on those soft tyres to get up to the front row. Obviously, they'll have the better start off the line compared to the pack of Rick, who was on the mediums, and obviously Jay, I believe, was on the hard tyres when he made his lap, and then obviously went back into the pits. So this is going to be, it's nice to see a mixed bag of strategies, and we'll see how we get on there. But Chasen, the man of the hour right now, and he will be most likely, as I don't think anyone's going to be improving, will be the first pole position man of the first ever PC E-Prix race, which I will say is in collaboration with fellow Twitch streamer Tom, who's in the chat. So Tom, much appreciation for allowing me to do this. So massive thank you to you. And anyone from Tom's stream, obviously, who may have come across to watch the broadcast. If anyone wants to take part in the next race, which should have been China, but obviously now it's China. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Australia in the next one, to basically pretend it's Vietnam, unless Codemasters decide to bring Vietnam in. Then that would be actually really ideal for all of us, actually, including Tom with his community race that he has got on. As we see a runner coming out, which I believe is Kirby. It is indeed, as he's now making his way back out onto the circuit. And a question for you, Jess. Have you ever tried keyboard before on F1, especially in the wet? So this is going to be a nice little interesting sight to see.
I've never tried it on the keyboard in the wet, and I'm, like I said earlier, I'm rubbish in the keyboard full stop on this game. I think I did a challenge where I did a full lap on keyboard. I hardly ever survived it, so fair job to Kirby. You can tell he's on the keyboard now. He's absolutely nailing it right now. I don't know how he's doing it, but it just goes to show you can drive on any equipment. You don't need a pad, you don't need a wheel, you could use a keyboard if you want to. But yeah, he's struggling a bit now, but it is to be expected really. So but yeah, hopefully he could get up there. Maybe he may not improve on lap time, but he's going to improve on his knowledge of the track surely.
Indeed, as Matthew has just joined as well, a bit of a late comer. Obviously he didn't want to do any qualifying at all, so he's managed to get himself in. And he is also from ACC, Assetto Corsa Competizione. So we've got a mixed bag of drivers who never played this game before. So it's good to see a mixed range of our community coming in to have a bit of fun. Also, the man on your screen right now, who is Bajor, otherwise known as Lexus Man in our community. He also is a ACC driver, and he is obviously getting on F1 as well for the first time. So it's good to see other gamers from different motorsport simulators come along and have a little go on F1 whilst while we get on with that. So that's going to be interesting, as only got a minute and a bit to go. And Maloney's got a lot to say in the interview apparently, which is going on. Matthew, basically we got the timings wrong. Time zones have screwed us up, so yeah. Apologies. But don't worry, no one really set a good lap time. So at least you get to miss the carnage at turn 1, which I've got a suspicion there might be at the start. And Jess, could you invite Mark if you can? That'll be fantastic if you could.
Yeah, I will. I'll try and do that right now. Whilst you comment on the last bit of the race.
Indeed. So I'm just going to watch Microland a minute, because he is behind his teammate for this race, Superfan, who is obviously from a regular on the F1 Open Lobbies. So it's good to see if maybe the two are doing a bit of tactics here with a little bit of practice, maybe in the race, to do some slipstreaming one another, as they are starting actually one another, as we can't invite Mark, unfortunately.
No,
so
as spectators we can't.
Oh, as spectators we can't. So if any
drivers, if you're watching and if you're in the pits, can you invite Mark, please?
That would be fantastic. We know there's a few people, some of you are lurking in this chat.
Oh, and there's lots of Stewart today. He's just got back as well.
He's just got back from obviously doing the. Obviously, he works in a hospital of some sort, so he's doing a fantastic job with that. And obviously, the reason we're doing this, guys, is obviously we are obviously in a bit of a terrible state in the world at the minute with the COVID-19, as we'll call it. And this is why we like to do these sort of events. We want to entertain you and get everyone involved. And obviously, it's a big day for F1 in general. We've got the virtual Grand Prix later this afternoon, which obviously features some of the biggest names in F1. You've got Charles Leclerc racing, you've got Alex Albon, Nicholas Latifi, George Russell, to name a few. And then you've got some e-sport drivers as well racing. You've also got YouTubers, content creators. It's just great. And you've got Veloce as well putting on an event as well, doing a 1v1 style battle royale. So it's a great day for sim racing in general in this day and age right now. And seeing like F1 drivers streaming now, which is even more amazing.
That was quite fun to watch yesterday. I must say, I was watching Leclerc's, Russell's and Norris's stream pretty much all in one go, and it was hilarious. It was great, and some of these guys, they only got the sims a few days ago, and they were mighty quick at the game. So. But, you know, there was a few messing around, but that's what you expect. You want to have fun in the downtime period, and then they were having fun. So great to see the younger drivers especially really showing that they can do a lot more stuff. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to those races later on as well. But we still got this to watch, so don't leave yet. We still got more action. Don't you dare leave. So, yeah, Chasen's on pole right now. I don't think anyone's going to improve drastically. So we've got Chasen on pole, Sepe in second, Racing Rick third, and then Jay in fourth place, and Silver Dollar the only person on the wet right now. So
I just want to say Cambo is also on the wets as well.
Ah.
So we could see that, and I think Mark has just done a bit of a L right now because he is actually joined as a driver. So
oh, no.
So Mark is racing this race now. So Jess, you've been promoted now as a steward and a commentator. So good job, Jess.
Mark, you idiot.
So everyone in chat, can we put some Totos right now in the chat. So just for Mark, because he's a bit of a a bit of a bottle for Mark. So good job, Mark. Appreciate it. And qualifying's actually over now, so we're just going to see if anyone's going to take it really slowly. But welcome to everyone who's just joined now for the start of the E-Prix race on PC. Apologies if you were seeing this an hour earlier than usual. Basically, Ryan doesn't understand time zones, as unfortunately we've just seen a Williams go into the back of Whitestone there. I'm not sure who it is.
Hopefully... That was Microlander. Is it AI? It was the AI, I think.
Well, Microbot is pushing Whitestorm along. Maybe Whitestorm's got no fuel. I think
actually, no, it's Superfan, sorry. I'm looking at the one person.
So it's Superbot, basically. Superbot is pushing Whitestorm along here, but we're not going to see anyone. Obviously, everyone's heading back to the pits, of course, and that is going to wrap up qualifying. So Chasen in the racing point will take pole position for the first ever PCE pre-race. Alongside him is Seppi in P2 and Rick in P3. But as you can see, Jess, from the top 10, mixed bag of strategies. So we're not going to know who's going to be winning this race. But who do you think will take the victory this afternoon? And chat as well. Let me know your predictions in chat. Indeed as well. So we'll see. And there is going to be a driver of the day vote as well. So you will decide who gets the first ever Sims. I need to get this right, actually. One of our new sponsors who is also collaborating with us for this event. It is going to be the Pro Street Sim Driver of the Day. So you guys will get to vote for that. And that will be going up around about half distance in the Grand Prix. So just keep an eye out for that. And as I was going to ask you, Jess, who is your driver? Who do you think is going to win this race based on the top 10?
Oh... Rexon looks pretty quick. So does Rick as well. I mean, I've seen people in China recently who start from like 3rd or 4th and then go on to win. So I don't know. There are some quick drivers. So I'm gonna say Chase in first and Rick second, and possibly I can't remember the guy in second, but the guy who was in second is gonna be in third. I can't remember their gamer tags.
Indeed. So hopefully we're not gonna have any issues right now.
That's it, Seppi.
Seppi indeed, as the field now set off for the formation lap then, as it's absolutely bone dry conditions, which is fantastic to see, as Rick is already gone. He's just gone, he's flown, he's off, he's ready to go for this E-Prix race. But for me, I'm going to go for someone who hasn't really been mentioned a lot in this event, and it's actually going to be Jay. I think Jay has been quickest. Jay has been quick in the practice sessions that we've been setting up, that have been set up this morning, and he's been one of the quickest drivers, so he is definitely my pick to win this race. But don't count out Mark, who is actually just joined after coming back from work. He's no slouch as well in this game, and he's been really rapid on the game, so he's definitely one, even though he's starting down in P19. But we're just going to get up the strategies right now for the tyres and see anyone who's outside, as everyone apart from Kirby and Superfan are all on the mediums, and then Kirby's gone very brave and gone on soft tyres, and Superfan on those hard compound tyres. But in the top 10, you can see on your screens, we've got, as I said, Chase and Seppi on the softs, Rick and Jay on the mediums, Silver on the softs, Whitestorm on the mediums, and Fearcamp and Rexon on the hards. Also on the hards is Kazi and J-Mo as well on the mediums. So it's good to see a nice bag. But tyre deck is going to be probably the biggest factor in this race, who's going to win this, as the track temperature is going to be really hot at the minute, because it is beaming with sunshine in more of the technical sectors, which is basically sector 2, and there's a bit of shade right now as you're going down towards the hairpin, so the tyres will get a little bit cooler, but it's all going to be down to tyre management, Jess, isn't it, to whoever's going to win this race.
Yeah, it is, and the ones on the softs, especially Chasing, Seppi and Kirby, are going to find it a little bit more tricky on the first opening laps, because then the tyres will start to degrade about lap 3 and lap 4, and that is where the medium runners could really start to come to their own and start to overtake them. So, but they may be hoping for safety cars, because if a safety car comes, like we've seen in Tom's race, that could be a free pit stop. So I'm guessing those what those three are hoping are going to happen is for those soft runners to hope there's a safety car, but you never know, it could happen. It happened in Tom's race, so it could happen here, but we'll have to wait and see on that one, right?
Indeed, as we're just getting the final few drivers then as they come up to line up the grid. We had a couple of people who unfortunately got caught in an incident on the formation laps, so they're all on the grid, but here we go then. The lights are on for the first ever F1 E-Prix community race on PC. And we're waiting now as there's a bit of a spectator mode glitch here, but in the words of Crofty, it's lights out and away we go for the first E-Prix race on PC. And it's a good start from Chasen actually as he's holding off Seppi into turn 1. And we're just going to look down the field. Rick trying to hold the outside to defend from the Alpha of J. And it's been clean so far, I've got to say, Jess, and looking good so far.
Yeah, it's great to see Alan. You spoke too soon, Ryan. We've seen a Racing Point and a Mercedes collide into turn 2, and that was the Kazi and Mark with a C, so that's not been good for those two. But apart from that, everybody else made it through turn 2 and 3. And we've got Rick being passed by a Gem, got a VSC, so not a complete safety car, but a VSC, so they'll have to slow down a little bit and they'll have to wait for a bit for overtaking.
Indeed, as we've got a penalty given already, and it's only been about half a lap, as Mr. Camber got a collision with Superfan, and the game has given him a 5-second penalty, which he can take in his pit stop, or use it at the end of the race. So it's going to be, or is he going to take in his pit stop, isn't he, Jess? So
yeah, I think
it's going to be interesting. But yeah, sorry, Jess, go on.
We're in green flag conditions once again, and Rick is taking this opportunity right now to try and get past Seppi in second. You're going to go through all this back straight, which is really hard on the traction then. He's going to go to the left-hand side. There's no DRS yet available, and he's going to try and breeze past. Look at that straight line speed that Rick is having. So he's got past him, and we also got the Ferrari, which is not that close by either, and we got the Alpha as well. Oh, look at Seppi. He's going to try and go around Rick then, try and get the move once again. Can Rick get the switchback going into the penultimate corner? He's going to have a try at least. And both of them go off the circuit. That's not good. And that means Chase is managed to pull off an early lead. Rick stays second, but no penalties though.
Yep, just to let you guys know as well, there is strict corner cutting on, so any track extensions like we just saw there will be given a warning, and then I think 3 warnings, it's a penalty. So obviously they've got to be very, very careful with their track limits today, as China is well known for some particular sections of the circuit where you can, when it was on regular corner cutting, you can basically use the limits of the circuit, so they've got to be very, very careful. But Chasen's had a brilliant start. He's already 2 seconds clear. Or was 2 seconds ago. I think he's just made a mistake in the first part of the long left-right section of the middle sector. So gap's now 0.8 of a second between Rick and Chasen, and Chasen's just got to absolutely fly right now because those tyres will go off very shortly. Right now, as we're going to see the Alpha now of Jay, obviously my bookie's favourite to win this race, as he is trying to get back on the rear of White Storm, who is on the back of Seppi. And further down the field, we've just seen an overtake actually, as Michael Lander has overtaken Joe, as he now moves up to P8 right now. And the only battle on circuit is this one right now, as Joe struggling on those medium compound tyres, as he's got the other Alpha of JMO right behind him, as JMO's going to get the slipstream. Joe's going to have to defend the inside line going into the hairpin. So this is going to be a bold move from JMO if he holds it around the outside. And Joe brilliantly defending there. Oh, there's been contact though. Kirby goes right into the rear of that Alpha, and he loses a bit of his end plate there, as Rick gets the fastest lap of the race there at 36.5, and we can see Kirby going into the pit lane with that damaged front wing, as he's going to have to pit right now, and we'll see if he's going to tactically maybe go on to the hard tyres. And you can, I think, get to the end of the hard tyres if he really, really preserves his those tyres as he comes into the pits. A new front wing will be given to him, and he's going on to actually medium tyres, so very interesting strat there, Jess, for Kirby.
I think he's probably going for the 2-stock. There's literally no way the mediums are going to last until lap 28. So maybe the 2-stock might be faster for him again. We'll have to wait and see. Not many people have had practice, as we've got, oh, look at this. We've got some more battles happening right across the field. We've got a battle for White Storm and Rick. And then we've got Marky Mark and Matthew having a little bit of a scrap for P12. Don't forget, Marky Mark and Matthew started dead last on the grid, and they're already making their way to closely getting points in this race. So they're doing a pretty good job in our standards, I must say.
Speaking of Mark, he's just absolutely bottled the double left-hander, and he's just lost the position. You've jinked commentator's curse once again, as Matthew gets the pass done and moves up to P12, but don't count Mark out. Obviously, he is quick. We know that. Oh, we see a spinning Williams in the background. Superfan's gone for a little bit of a Chinese drift, as I'm going to call it now, as he goes off, and he's got a bit of damage on his front right end plate, so he's going to have to come back to the pits and get a new front wing change. But that's kind of ruined his race for him, sadly. But at the top of the field, you can see Chasen still has the gap of 1.2 seconds, but we've got a battle going on still. It's round 2 of JMO versus Joe, and JMO's going to try and hold it around the outside, but nowhere to go. And JMO had to back out of that, but he's going to get the slipstream, and the DRS should be enabled actually this time by, and he actually has got the DRS down the inside, and JMO gets the overtake done and moves himself up to P8, but Joe will likely hope to bounce back as actually he's going to try and take the inside line. They're going side by side, but a bit of contact there, and Joe has lost a bit of his end plate there on the right-hand side. That's going to affect his downforces, particularly in the middle sector. But that was a very good move there from JMO in turn 1.
Brilliant stuff from the Alpha. He looked like he was trying to avoid trouble because obviously we know what Joe's like at times, but brilliant job from the Alpha keeping his nose clean in that lap, and he got the move done, and he's up into P8 for now as well. We're also seeing Maiko Lander looking very close to this battle here as we've lost one driver already, Veerkamp, and that is in sector 3 somewhere. I'm losing track where it is, or it might be from the pit lane, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure that
So sector 3, Jess.
Yeah, sector 3, yeah.
But look at this ding-dong battle we got right here. This is for, I believe, P4 in the race, actually, is Silver. One we haven't really mentioned a bit in this race already is up into 5th place, and he's not that far off Jay, but obviously he is on the soft tyres, so he's going to have that slight advantage, and it's a bit of a train behind Jay, so Jay has to pick his speed up a little bit, but this could get juicy into the hairpin, as we've got... Who's that? Michael Lander going down the inside, trying to move on Silver, but Silver with that traction from the soft tyres has already got the job done and holds the position for now. But if I'm honest, I think T-Boy's going to be having a bit of a train start to emerge behind him at this point, Jess.
Yeah, definitely, and he's probably going to have lots of T's at this minute. And we've got our first pit stop from the soft runners, and that is our race leader Chasen in the Racing Point. And he too is going on the mediums. He's not opted for the hard compound tyres, so another person on the possible 2 stop, or we might see a bit of rain towards the end. We don't know yet. I'm surprised not many people are going for the hards to start off with, but yeah, T-Boy is definitely under pressure. I mean, he's got a PC split 1 driver, well, previous PC split 1 driver behind him who's very quick, and he's touched a bit back of T-Boy there, just a little bit there as well. And we got Rexon doing very well as well, and you know, see some comebacks.
Oh, that was a lovely attempt of a dive bomb there from Lexus Man, or Bajor, but unfortunately he just locked up and went a bit wide. Yeah. And Kazi gets back the position. Kazi is a Twitch streamer who does a variety of F1 games, and actually we see a Toro Rosso going off in the background. That was who was that? I believe it was Mark actually going off the circuit there. So Mark really struggling, I think, on his tyres at the minute. So that's not really good to see for him, for Mark, and he's a moderator for my channel, and keeps driving like this. I think he's going to get sacked.
Tuts up, Mark, but don't forget, it was last minute for him to join in this race, and you know, he just got back, so he hasn't had much practice at all on that. So you know.
We just got confirmation from one of our in-race stewards, Jake. He's just been informed he had contact with someone and was let by. So good sportsmanship from there. As we see T-Boy coming into the pit lane now, Silver Darling, as he'll be the other. He's getting his cup of tea in his pit stop, and let's see what the Haas team are going to put him on. Is he going to go on the mediums, or is he going to go onto the set of hard tyres? We're about to find out, and it's medium compound tyres for the Haas driver, and that's a very clean, sleek pit stop from the boys at Haas, and gets Silver out and away. And he's just going to, I think, maybe pop just out behind Seppi, maybe, or is he going to be very lucky? And he does indeed get out ahead of him there, and he will slot back into P14. So everyone else, we won't see any other pit stops now for quite some time until the medium runners get out, as Rick still leads this race after the first round of pit stops, and Whitestorm only 2 seconds behind, and he's not that far away. But Rick obviously is another moderator from the Twitch channel, and we know he's a quick driver, Jess, and he's got a lot of pressure over now from a former AOR PC Split 1 driver behind him.
Yeah, exactly, and obviously he's quick in the ACC world as well, so he's used to both games, and obviously it is quite hard to get used to one game or another, but we've seen the likes of James Baldwin have done it as well, him getting used to R-Factor 2 recently as well, and it's hard because there might be some people that play a bit of like GT Sport, for example, and then they pick up the F1 game again and they just find it a lot more difficult. So really it's down to the driver's preference and setup. But yeah, Rick is doing a great job, as obviously he's been used to a lot of different games in his time, and he's doing a great job out there leading this race so far.
Indeed, we're just on board here with Joe Kempson in the Red Bull as he's trying to chase down Mark ahead of him in P6, and still this battle going on between Joe and JMO, and I think while off camera Joe got past JMO, and he's really trying to push right now, and I think Joe's going for the more conservative approach, saving his tyres. He's not really being aggressive across the corners, whereas JMO on the other hand is absolutely flying through the corners. He wants to get past Joe Kempson here and really push right now. But one man to obviously mention as well that we talked about earlier, Matthew as well, who just joined late to the session, and he started last. He's already up to P9 as well, and he's also just being conservative with the tyres. But at the minute, it's as we've just been told, Mark overtook Joe 2 laps ago, so Mark is really on the ball right now, and he's only a second behind Rexon in the Mercedes. So don't count Mark out of this race. And to be fair, only just coming back from the hospital, which he does for a job, and he's only done he's done no laps of practice, and he's already P6. That is absolutely an amazing job from Mark.
Well, he is a league racer as well. Obviously, he does this as well, and he's also mod in our community, so he's used to pressure. And I first met Mark, and he's a quick guy, and he's going to be in a lot of pressure now. But yeah, if I was commentating on a league race and I was giving a award for people who gain the most position, it will be him. But we still got Michael Lander and Jay going side by side, going into the penultimate corner then to start their next lap. Almost very tight.
Sorry there, Jess. Joe made a mistake at the hairpin, and JMO gets the job done and moves up to P7. I think Joe just locked up a little bit at the hairpin and went into the gravel trap and slowed him down, and JMO gets the job done as we see a Force India, or Tracing Point. I always say Force India. Sorry, guys. But the Racing Point off as well. That was Kazi in the background taking a bit of track extension there. He'll be getting a warning from the stewards, obviously, for that, as we're going to keep an eye on this battle, actually, for P3, Jess. As you mentioned, Michael Lander versus Jay. Right now, so obviously both on the same compound of tyre right now, but looks like Jay is the fastest of the two at the minute as he's trying to close the gap down. But also one to keep an eye on as well, Jess, Rexon on the hard tyres. He's obviously on the slowest tyre, but he's not no slouch. He's only 6 tenths behind Mark on the medium, so Rexon's a dark horse now in this race, and he's just lurking. He's getting ready to pounce, ready for that opportunity, as we just see Superfan get a penalty as well for cutting the course, and he gets a 3-second time penalty added on to the end of the race. So he's going to be one to keep a general eye on as well. We'll find out who gets the most penalties as well, as they will get a shout out as well for the most penalties. So
yes, Ryan.
The name of Shame the Drivers, we're going to be calling it. So we'll see. But as we said, Jess, Rexon, do you think he could be someone to keep a very, very close eye on later in the later stages of this race?
Yeah, definitely. I think the alternate strategy is going to work really well for Rexon, and I think he's going to do very well on the softest, on the medium tyres at the end of the race, because he's doing a one-stop as well. So yeah, I think he's going to be a dark horse, to be honest. Don't count him out to possibly get a podium, maybe.
Maybe, as Rexon, as we could actually go on board with him actually in the Mercedes, he's right on the back of Mark. Mark there, you can see by the flashing indicator on the back of his car, is basically saying he's harvesting some ERS. Maybe he's running mode 1-0, maybe. As you can actually see, Rexon there, he's running the mode 1 setting, which is the slowest of them all. Well, nearly all slow. So he's getting a little bit of energy boost, but not a lot, as he's going to try and save a little bit for the actual back straight when the disc gets enabled. So he's trying to save as much as possible right now. As Mark as well, he's doing a good job in the Toro Rosso, or the AlphaTauri as it is in real life right now. Obviously, as my cameras are going a bit loopy right now, but we're all good now, as we get a nice lovely shot of the back of the Toro Rosso looking forward. And Mark just running a little bit wide there, which will hinder a bit of tyre wear on his right-hand side, his front right tyre, clipping the curb out there. But he's actually catching up to Jay, actually. He's only a second behind. And Jay, obviously, as I mentioned to you, was the quickest driver in practice before we went live. So I think Jay's having a little bit of under pressure right now, Jess, isn't he?
Yeah, he's good at race pace, but with the likes of Mark in there as well, who wasn't there in practice, it's going to be a lot more difficult for him. You can see Rexon in the background really trying to pressurise Mark a lot to make mistakes, but Mark is not going to make mistakes, of course. He's perfectionist. And Jay as well is going to try and get in, as
Ooh.
Jay is in the pits now. So that's an early pit stop. That is a gamble move. We'll have to wait and see what tyres he goes on to. Now, it's not going to be the hards, but the hards can make it to the end, so he could go on the hards. So we'll follow him to his pit stop, as well as obviously we've seen Yamo, Kazi, Matthew have gone past him as well. Well, it might
medium.
Be medium.
Hards. Hard tyres.
So that will be to the end, but that's going to be... And Kazi is out of the race.
Oh, this actually works. This works out beautifully, actually, for Jay, because the virtual safety car has come out as well, as there was a collision, I believe, with Matthew and Kazi, who are out of the race. So that will obviously have to be in there. As Joe Kempson gets a penalty, a drive-through for speeding under the virtual safety car. So Joe has a bit of a bottle moment right there. So bit sad to see for him, as Kirby's also coming into the pits as he's making his second pit stop. So this is a good time for actually Kirby now. This has worked out beautifully for him, and he can maybe switch onto those hard tyres and go all the way to the end of the race, actually. No, he's not, actually. He's going to the soft. That's a bold move there from Kirby, I have to say, for him. But he's going on there as Matthew's coming to the chat to let us know he had damage on lap 4, and he will retire from the race from that. So a bit of shame for Matthew there. And he shut the door into turn 1. Oh, that's a shame. But we have got stewards obviously on board, so there will be post-race penalties or potential qualifying penalties for the next event if the drivers who get the penalty take part in it, of course. So obviously we'll keep an eye on that. But Kirby's pulled that one out of the bag there with a strat call there. Also, Jay as well was a bit lucky as well with that virtual safety car, and he's now lying in P11 right now. As we can see, Silver as well, he's 4 laps into his medium tyres, and he's looking not too bad, actually. Pace is looking pretty good for him, as he's trying to chase down the Lexus man right now, as he's up in P9. So for an ACC driver, Jess, who's not really played this F1 game before, he's doing all right, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He had a while to practice this as well, this game, and he's doing quite brilliantly. And obviously, ACC is a lot harder to get used to more than the other way around, so... But yeah, he's doing really well. He's coping with the pressure, and obviously, yeah, I think I won't be surprised if he's running no assist at all. Which, if he is, then good, fair play to him, considering it's his first time playing on this game. But we did see that with the real F1 drivers. It's the first time they picked up the game. They're still managing. Oh no, he just had a bit of a Tokyo drift there, but he just saved it just in time there. I was worried I would jinx him again, and I wouldn't be a happy bunny. But yeah. He's doing fantastic there. He's got kicked off the gravel trap there, as Mr. T-Boy is catching up to him like a hawk, Ryan.
He is indeed, and speaking of which, the Lexus man has got a penalty, unfortunately, for multiple warnings. So I don't know what that is all about, but I think it's basically going to be track extensions there. And that's not pretty good for Lexus man. He was doing so well, and unfortunately he's got a bit wide as well out of that corner. As here comes T-Boy now, as he's coming down towards... the start of the final sector, but Rick pitted, by the way, Jess, if you didn't know. He's onto the hard tyres, and he's actually behind Chasing, so Chasing will have the net lead going into the second stage of this race, as Whitestorm, the race leader, comes into the pits for Ferrari. And is he going to go onto the hard tyres? You bet he is, and let's see if Ferrari can do a stellar pit stop there. A little bit slow compared to the Haas driver, but he gets it out and away he goes. And he's going to slot somewhere behind this battle for what will be the net race lead right now, as Rick's trying to get a bit of slipstream with DRS.
It's off! Oh no, it's Lexus Man!
Lexus Man's gone for a bit of an excursion, and he's got no front wing on there, so he has to pit this time. Oh, and he's locked up as well with Lewis Hamilton, Lexus Man. But thankfully for him, there's tarmac and not gravel, so he's got away with that, as he's getting back to the pits, and he now has to change his front wing, but it could be his pit stop, Jess. We don't know. He could legit come into the pits anyway this time by. We don't know, but he's going to be going on to a set of the hard tyres, as we see the Toro Rosso coming in as well. Mark was in just now, so it is Seppi that's in now. It is Seppi, and you can see Mark there on the medium tyres now, as he falls a little bit behind Whitestorm at the minute. But we've got a virtual safety car again, Jess, by the way, so this is going to play into a couple of people's hands right now. The likes of Mark with a C and also Seppi as well coming into the pits, so they've called this right, coming in under there, as the DRS has been enabled again, so we're back to green flag racing right now. So that was a bit of a short VSC, Jess, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we're getting more VSCs than safety cars right now. I think this is our third one. So 2 more and then that'll be it for safety car frequency. So obviously in 50% races, you can only have 5 safety cars and VSCs, and those are VSCs included as well. So at least the drivers won't have to worry about that if we get any more. Hopefully we won't get any more. Hopefully the drivers will be clean, but you never know. And Mark came out in 7th place on the road at the moment. We got 3 people still yet to pit, which is the Williams and obviously the Mercedes, and Yamo's another one guy who hasn't pitted, but he's gone into the pits as well in the Alpha, and he's probably going to get on a set of the hard compound tyres till the end of the race, which is probably what he's likely going to do. And his pit box is quite a long way away, so let's see what tyres he goes on.
Hard tyres.
On the hards, yeah. So he goes out, and that will last until the end there. So that's his one and only stop by the looks of things, Ryan.
Yes, indeed. I think everyone's going to be making their only pit stop, so it's now going to be down to on-track action. Now, no more strategies unless there is a legit safety car. We do not know what this race could transpire, and we could break the record here, Jess, of most safety cars, VSCs, in an actual race that I've ever commentated on. So that's
wow.
going to be quite good. But at the front of the field, Michael Lander still leads this race. Then he's 5.5 seconds clear of Rexton right now, and I think both of these drivers have not yet pitted yet. There's a little bit of a drift there for Michael Lander coming out of the long right-hander onto the back straight, and he's going to get a bit of maybe a little tiny little squeeny bit of slipstream actually on the car ahead of him, which I believe is Malone, who's trying his hardest to get back through the field, but I think he's had some issues during the race. As if I was Michael Lander, I would pit this lap, just gets away from the pack and just gets get some fresh boots on him. And speaking of the devil, he's actually listened to me, Jess. He's coming into the pits right now from the lead, and let's see what he goes on, as I believe Mr. Camber gets another penalty as well.
10 seconds as well. That's a bit harsh.
That is a big oof in the chat, so get some oofs, everyone, all the viewers, oof in the chat right now for that one, as the stewards are being very strict today, I have to say. As speaking of penalties, Joe gets another penalty for multiple warnings, so that is going to be a track limits penalty for him, as Mark sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:35.3. So Mark's actually on a charge, and he's right behind Michael Lander, and is he going to try and get past Michael Lander as soon as possible? As Michael Lander goes very wide, a little bit of back-end loosey-goosey moments there, as he's on cold tyres, obviously, and he's going to fall into the clutches of Mark here, and Mark gets the better traction, and this is going to be job done for Mark, as we're going to try and get a better camera angle here, but unfortunately not, as he does full Daniel Ricciardo-esque move down the inside and moves up to P5, as we're not going to count out Michael Lander yet, as Scotty, thank you for following, welcome to the F1 paddock, and you've come at a good time actually with an exciting battle going on, Jess.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many battles happening in the circuit already. We weren't expecting it to happen this late on. We're pretty much halfway to this race already. 14 laps down, 15 laps to go of this race, and Mark is really still chasing for position here. He's about 6 seconds behind, but he's going to be under pressure from the Williams driver to see if he can get past as well. But those cars are going to make it to the end, but the mediums is going to be a tough ask for him, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. We've got yellow flags, they're probably just people moving people out of the way, maybe blue flags or something like that, so that's probably what's going on at the moment. And Marky Mark trying to break the slipstream from Michael Lander, as Michael Lander tries to get the move done, but he stays out of it at the moment. So great tactic from Mark there. That's what I would have done, to be fair, if I was in his position. But always Mark has gone very, very deep into that final corner. That will lead into the hands of Michael Lander very, very nicely. Is he going to try and get the move done now? Nope, he's still in the RS mode too, so he decides to stay behind Marky Mark for the time being, Ryan.
Indeed, I think it's the long game now. This is for Michael Lander. He's got to just wait his time, because Mark's tyres will go off slightly quicker, as obviously Michael Lander is on the hardest compound of the two. As further down the field, actually, there is a battle going on between Superfan and Mark with a C, as I believe Mark with a C got the overtake done on the back straight with DRS, as Superfan's trying his hardest to try and catch up, as he gets a little bit of DRS as he's trying to hunt down the Mercedes ahead of him. And you guys know in chat what we do when I say Mercedes, don't you? You know what you have to do in chat, don't you worry.
Guys, go on.
You know. As we're going to go back up in the front of the field, actually, because Chasing is still in the hunt here with Racing Rick, as Rick is only 9 tenths clear of the racing point. But at the front of the field, as you can see, Rexton's still going out there on those hard tyres. 14 laps on those tyres. That is absolutely bonkers how he's still going on those compound tyres. But surely Wrexham will have to pit soon if he wants to try and win this race.
And speaking of
which, I am good at this, Jess. Oh, and he's gone very wide, actually, nearly clipping the barrier there as he comes into the pit lane right now as the Mercedes. He gets first pit stop, actually, Jess, in the pit lane. So hopefully Mercedes can live up to their name with good pit stops. And looks a bit slow there, Jess, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's a bit unfortunate for Wrexham, but yeah, she got the totals in the chat. That's what we asked for. Thank you so very much, guys. Keep them coming in, guys. Keep spamming them. And anyway, Rick is still in the lead, basically pretty much the lead of this race now. It's pretty much most people have made their pit stops for pretty much majority of this race, but Wrexham has just come up in front of Silver Darling, who's only 8 tenths behind Wrexham, but Wrexham's going to be on cold tyres now, so he's going to find it a little bit tricky for Silver Darling, but you never know, in a lap's time he's going to be absolutely flying.
Indeed. Just want a quick mention, as Sparky Eagle has followed as well. Welcome to the F1 paddock as well. Thank you much for that. I do appreciate that. But we're going to be obviously want to give a big shout out to our sponsors for the community race and on the Twitch channel for Pro Street Sim. So thank you, Leo, as I like to call him, for sponsoring us, and obviously will be our sponsors for the E-Prix race going forward for our driver of the day vote, which will be going live in around about 4 laps time. So you're going to get yourselves ready to get your votes in right now, and there will be a link to a poll in the chat very soon. So once we get that up and running, we'll let you guys know, and we'll announce the winner of the first Pro Street Simmers. Actually, Jess, we see a Williams.
Car.
Oh, this is going to spice things up a bit, and it was actually for the Williams of, I think, Superfan, who it's not Superfan, actually, it's the other Williams, which is Microlander, I believe, with no front wing. So he's had a moment there as Superfan actually gets a penalty for speeding under the safety car. But this is going to be very interesting tactically as White Storm stays out, actually. But we've got Chasing in the pits, we've got Rick in the pits right now as...
This is good timing for these guys as Microlander, oh no! He's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not what he wants. As everyone's taking advantage of the free pit stop, and the one that's helped the most, I think, is Silver Darling. He's been on 11 lap on mediums. He can go on mediums to the end. He's going to be mega quick towards the end, and he's not going to lose that many positions. As Mark with a C is 29 seconds down the road. So this has worked very well in Silver Darling's favour, and also Michelander's favour as well. So, you know, and obviously White Storm's in the lead now. Marky Mark second, but have they regretted not pitting? But I think Mark might have, but White Storm, I think, had no other choice but to stay out.
Indeed, and we've got some very sad news to report. Mark has a penalty, apparently, according to Jake, his race engineer. So Mark has got to absolutely fly in these last 10 laps of the race. As Mark, I personally would have thought would have pitted at that time. As actually, if you notice, Jess, Microlander is on the soft tyre, and also Mark with a C as well. They are going full bold strategy there. They think they can do 10 laps or less on the soft tyre. That is a bold strategy call from their pit wall there. So that is going to be very, very interesting right now. But exactly, GTF1, we agree, he's going to be dead basically by the end of the race. So that is a very, very interesting strat, unless he got it, if he's got a good, maybe a tyre wear preserve setup. We don't know, because or how his driving style is. We don't have a clue what the setups are for these drivers, because they are all running open setups, so they can run their own specific ones they want. But we'll have to wait and see. But very bold, I will have to say, for that one. But with less than 11 laps to go then, as the safety car comes around to bring the whole field round, White Storm leads on the hard compound tyres. Then we've got Mark in second, with Rex in third, Rick in fourth, Chasen, who's starting on pole position, is in P5, JMO in P6, and also we've got Jay in P7, T-Boy, who I've got to say has impressed me so far, in P8, Microlander P9, and Joe Kempson still in the points, which is pretty good for him as well.
Yeah, well, I think so as well. It's pretty much going to be a sprint race towards the end. So get your popcorn out, guys, and watch the race unfold, as it's going to be quite quiet for this lap or the next few laps, and just until the safety car comes in again. And I have noticed it is getting a little bit cloud view at the moment, so weather could change or weather may stay the same, we don't know. So they've got to be on their toes now due to the fact of the added safety car measures as well, and they'll be up to Whitestorm to get the good restart, as he'll be the one controlling that restart once the safety car goes in.
Indeed, and as you said, Jess, the change of conditions has an effect on the tyre wear of specific ones. So in cooler conditions, the softs can run a little bit longer than in clear sunshine, as the track is really up to temp, really hot basically. So this could play a hand, and there might even be rain, Jess. We don't know. That could spring a surprise come end of the race, which could maybe hint some people, maybe change the wets if it ever happens. But we just got to keep an eye on the clouds to see if that ever is going to change. But I think it's a bit too late for the rain to come.
Yeah,
but just think of the scenes of chat if they saw rain on screen. That would be very interesting, as we're just waiting for the safety car to announce it's going to be coming into the pits. But for Whitestorm, he's just got to go straight away because he's got Rexon on really realistically fresh tyres, as he's had the mediums on for only 2 laps. So Whitestorm's got to do a header final couple of 10 laps here. But I think everyone's going to be thinking it's going to be a sprint race right now, which it basically is. It's going to be a 10-lap dash to the end right now, as we'll wait for the safety car to turn its lights off, which it hasn't done yet. So maybe it's going to be coming up for an extra lap or so.
Everyone is caught up, Ryan. They're going to wait for everyone to catch up because there's still 4 cars not on the same bit of the circuit, as you can see on the track map. So probably for one final lap, because otherwise it would have been called in by now. So yeah.
Indeed, and this is actually going to play out to the likes of Microlander and Mark with a C, because obviously their tyres are obviously softs. They would have been burning right now, but the longer, the more time the safety car stays out, it's going to play into their hands actually. So normally the softs around here last about 8 to 9 laps, so they're going to be on the cusp obviously, but they will have a great start, and they've just got to make positions as quickly as possible and try to really get up as high as possible right now. But we see Kirby in the pits and also Mr. Camber in as well. So they are going to be maybe tactically thinking we can go on some wet tyres. As actually, are we getting a new front wing change? We are indeed for Kirby. So he must have had a little moment on the in the safety car, and he's going on to the medium tyres. Where as Mr. Camber, unfortunately, has gone onto the intermediates.
Oh no, is that a mistake, do you think?
I think it's a mistake. They put wets on. In the words of Matthew Gallagher, they've got wets on, but it's obviously dries. I know it's that, but we're going to reverse it there. But that's a bit of a fail right there for Camber. So I think he's going to get the fail of the day. As you can see him drifting there through turn 1. And Kirby's got to be very careful here. But the problem is, for Kirby, he can't overtake Camber. That's the problem right now for him. So that's a bit unfortunate for the Renault driver right now. But that's really unlucky for Kirby, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, especially because he's on the keyboard and he would have found it a little bit more trickier, and Camber as well. I mean, I think he wasn't expecting that, but it is getting a lot darker, the clouds, so I guess he had the wet tyres ready, but he forgot to switch it back in the end because he wasn't expecting to pit. So safety car in this lap. We're about to get some racing underway, Ryan.
It is indeed, and Whitestorm will be theoretically the safety car, as the drivers can't overtake until the start-finish line, if I'm correct, Jess. If you could clarify that, that'd be fantastic.
I think so. It will be up to the race leader to do that. Obviously, the AI will control that. As you can see, the field is being held up by the race leader. So as soon as the race leader goes after the safety car line, that is when the race is pretty much green flag and they can get underway. So Whitestorm has got to think when to do that.
It is indeed, but this is going to be very exciting, and welcome to everyone who's just joined for what is going to be probably a very interesting final 10 laps of this race, as Silver has got a penalty under the safety car for a collision with Jay, which is not good. And I think Whitestorm's starting to get ready to pounce now, as he's getting ready. Now he's just bringing the field back together now, as Joe's got another penalty as well for cutting the course, and we're going to get ready to go now, Jess.
Yes, we are, and let's see how Whitestorm manages this restart. And Marky Mark's going to be hot under his heels at the moment. It's a very good restart for Mark as well, as he's right on the back of Whitestorm going into turn 1. He's going to get the outside line. He's got a really better exit as Whitestorm almost tries to get the switch back there. They're still going side by side into the S section, and I think Whitestorm's going to try and get the switch back. He's going to, at least anyway. He's going to have a look. Wrexham might come into it as well. Yes, he has. Mark is in the lead of this race. Brilliant stuff.
Very impressive move from Mark there. And there's Rick as well. He's going for the Valtteri Bottas style move, and there's been contact.
No.
Unfortunately, Rexon has made contact with, I believe, which was White Storm's side pod. And he, unfortunately, I think might have some damage there, as Mr. Cameron's got another penalty, I believe, as he's on the wet tyres now, Jess. So he's expanding. He's expanding. He's trying all the tyres out. So it's good promotion for Pirelli there, I've got to say. But who would have thought Mark leading the Grand Prix from last place on the grid? Thank you, Jess, for the correction there.
Wait a minute, it's raining. It's raining.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. I can see on my onboard it's raining.
Oh my god, guys.
It's a safety car.
Oh my god, this is getting absolutely bananas right now. The rain has arrived with 8 laps to go. This is going to spice things up a bit. So get those Ricardos in the chat right now and share this around, because this is going to be a very interesting final couple of laps here. And this will be the final safety car, surely, of the race right now. And Jess has finally put as well the driver of the day, sponsored by Pro Street Sim as well. As Mark is staying out, actually, so there's loads of people coming in to the pit lane. Rixon, Chasins, and Rexon, Jay. As, oh my god, we're getting loads of gifted subs. Holy mother of God, thank you so much. I won't be able to read all of them.
It's an anonymous
right now.
gifter. It's an anonymous gifter, so we don't know who's gifted them.
So whoever's done that, you're an idiot in these days right now of COVID-19. But appreciate it though, so thank you. So Rick's in the pits for Inters, Chasin's on the Inters, Rexon, Jay, Superfan, Kirby, Joe, Mark with a C. And actually, Camper may have worked this out, Jess, actually, if you think about it. So,
wow.
On those wet tyres, so we don't know how wet.
It might be too early. There's a bit of rain, but not a lot of rain. So
it could be. It could be indeed as Silver, the T-Boy, unfortunately has another penalty, sadly. We're not sure what for, as I just missed it off the screen right now. But this is going to be very interesting. Has Mark and White Storm, Michael and Seppi, Malone, and Matthew. That's Matthew's bot, actually. We've got to say that right now. That is Matthew's bot, who is in P6 actually. So Matthew in Spirit. Matthew bot could potentially be winning this race, so Matthew could win, even though he's not driving.
Oh my word!
That would be a first, I think, in any race that we've done there. Duck, welcome. Also, Max Verstappen Racing, welcome as well. And I want to say a thank you to whoever the anonymous person was for gifting a load of subs to people. My guess has to be Leo, because we know Leo. He likes to gift subs, doesn't he, Jess? As,
or Nigel, maybe.
Or Nigel, maybe. We don't know who it is. But let's get a prediction in chat right now. So everyone in chat, who do you think is going to win this? Is it going to be people on the softs, or is it going to be those on the intermediates? That is going to be the huge question right now. Make sure you spread this around, guys, because we don't know who's going to win this. This is going to be the most unpredictable finish that we're going to see in a 50% race before. This has had everything. Dry to wet. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. But we don't know just how persistent this rain is going to be. Is it going to be wet enough for those intermediates later on in the race? But for those guys, they've got to pray that it's going to get heavier in the next maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a race, been in a situation where it's been too late to go onto the intermediate tyres. I mean, like...
Oh, Rexon's gone.
Rexon's left. Ah.
Rexon has retired from the race. I don't know if it's just a connection issue for him. We don't know. As Ash, thank you for following, mate. Welcome to the F1 paddock. Good to see you, mate, as well. And thank you for joining a very intriguing race right now, which is going to be interesting. But remember, we've got penalties for people. We've got Mark with a penalty as well, so he has to go for it, Jess, hasn't he? He's just got to floor it and get a 5-second gap. But he has been screwed over apparently by the game with a penalty, so we will be taking it under consideration. We need to see the evidence, obviously, before we announce the official winner, obviously. But provisionally, we're going to see how that is. Ash has been sent by Pro Street Sim, so thank you very much, Leo, for that. Appreciate it, of course. But this is going to be very interesting, as Malone has another penalty as he's collided with Seppi, sadly. But if you are in chat that want to take part in the next E-Prix race, which will be in Australia, which will basically be the Vietnam race, because we got China and Vietnam in the calendar wrong.
Australia,
that is Australia. Thank you, Jess. Jess always on hand to help me out with certain things.
Yeah.
Right now. So if you guys want to take part in the next race, !E-Prix will give you the details on how to find out, and sign-ups for that next race will go live tomorrow. So make sure to sign up for that if you guys want to take part in it. And there might even be the possibility of a second race as well on Saturday with an F2 style race as well. So keep an eye out for that. Depending on interest as well, we'll have to wait and see. But Jess, the safety car's coming in. It's about to get feisty.
Mark is trying to break the slipstream from Whitestorm. Just look at that. He's weaving all over the place. You can't do that if you're at the back. But Mark's got some clear air in front, and it's starting to take advantage on him, actually, for him doing that. But we can see Whitestorm really catching up quite closely as well. Mark's holding up the field then. He's got to get a good restart. He got a good restart last time, but this time he was at the back, whereas Whitestorm was in front of him. As Whitestorm's got a 10-second penalty. Now, surely that's going to be removed.
There's a Renault off as well. Malone's gone off. He's had a moment out of the final corner, and that has caused a huge gap between the top 4 and the rest of the pack as actually Whitestorm takes back the lead of the race, but Mark is going to try and hold down the inside like it was on the previous safety car that happened, and Mark's going side by side with Whitestorm, and they're going to hold it there. Brilliant battles going on down the field as well, but we'll have to keep an eye on this battle. Now, there's been contact as well, though, between, I believe that's the Williams of Michael Lander and Whitestorm, as Mark's going to go full send into...
Oh my god!
That is a beautiful overtake for Mark, but Whitestorm's going to get the switch back right now. Do not adjust your sets. This top 4 battle, one of these 4 is going to win this Grand Prix, hands down. We don't know what's going to happen, as unfortunately Rexon, obviously, as we mentioned, has retired from the race. His bot actually is pitted right now, but this is going to be very interesting. Who's going to win, Jess, out of these top 4? It's going to be between those 4, without a shadow of a doubt, unless if the rain gets heavier. It's going to bring those intermediate runners back into the mix, but it is going to be heavier, Jess, isn't it? As we see Michael Lander trying to get past the Toro Rosso, or in real life the AlphaTauri, of course, but in the game it's the Toro Rosso. But Whitestorm has that penalty. Obviously, we will have to review the results, of course, right now, post-race, so we will get some clarification for you guys, hopefully as soon as possible. As Aussie Goat, thank you for following. Welcome to the F1 paddock, and Jess, let's take you. You can take over the next couple of corners as Mark's going down the inside actually on Whitestorm, side by side, and no contact though whatsoever. Good battling though.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to them, and I was on board when Whitestorm got that penalty. Mark's in the pits then, so he thinks that the Inters is the best tyres, but I was watching Whitestorm as he got that penalty, and it was very hard.
Sorry, just to interrupt you there. Rick has gone off at the hairpin.
Oh, no.
He's made contact with someone, and he's also just clapped the side of, I believe that is the bot of Matthew, actually. Matthew is going into the pits. There's also Rick's going, oh no! Rick's hit the wall, and he's lost his front wing. He tried to go full send into the pit lane, but it did not work. And unfortunately, he has to come into the pits for some wet tyres. Also, Matthew's bot's in, Rick's in the pits as well. This is an absolutely chaotic race, Jess, as the wet tyre people are jumping onto another set of soft tyres actually, as unfortunately Mark with a C has been held up in the pit lane. But I think the wet tyre runners are, unfortunately, has not worked, as I think, Jess, it's actually stopped raining on track. But no, it's not, it's actually spitting still, sorry.
It's spitting, and the main reason why Mark had to go into the pits was the game decided to give him a random drive-through, and we didn't see it. So, yeah. So he had to go in for his drive-through. That is sad, man. Very sad.
What a chaotic first E-Prix race on PC, Jess, this has been already.
I know. Crazy. It was. I think we were predicting Mark was going to win after he did that great strategy, and then he's got those penalties. But we will be looking at those penalties at the end of the race. So do not worry, guys. We will be looking into it. So that should be fine. But we still got two of the PC Split 1, well, previous PC Split 1 drivers of AOR running P1 and 2 at the moment. This is what we like to see in this E-Prix, as they're on different strategies. So Whitestorm choosing to stay out, and Michael Lander is in second. DRS still enabled, so it is not enough to justify the DRS being disabled yet. So it is still pretty much dry tyre territory at the moment, or it might be the cusp between slicks and wet. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like I'm riding on board with Michael Lander now, Ryan. And I spoke too soon, as he swerved a little bit there, but before that he was not running too bad on those soft tyres, so he should be fine.
Indeed, and obviously thank you to the two people who've just followed. I can't really look at it right now because I'm actually trying to focus right now on getting Jess the best commentary viewpoints, points of perspective. But interesting enough though, Jess, if you noticed, the top three on 3 different compounds as well. Hard, soft and medium. So I don't know who's going to call this, as Rick's been given a penalty. I believe that is going to be for track limits, so he's got that penalty. We know Whitestorm's got a 10-second penalty. We know Michael Lander's got a penalty. I don't think Seppi's got a penalty, so he could be the one who could actually win this race legitimately, Jess. So
wow.
We've had so many different people in P1. It's just been absolutely insane, this race. And remember, guys, to vote for your driver of the day as well. We've got it in the chat. So get yourselves your inputs for the first Pro Street Sim driver of the day, as this race is being sponsored by Pro Street Sim, so go and check them out, guys. We get 10% off if you guys want to check out their products. The code will be in the Discord, I believe, as it should be, but if not, I'll put it in anyway. But good little battle going on here for the lead. The gap is only 0.2 of a second between, as you said, Jess, 2 former PC Split 1 drivers in AOR. And it's going to be very interesting, as actually Michael Lander's going to get the DRS down the inside. He's going to go and he's going to take the lead of the race. And oh, and a little bit of contact there, just a little bit. But thankfully for Whitestorm, no front wing damage, as he just clipped the diffuser actually of the Williams. And he's a lucky bugger, isn't he?
Yeah, what a lucky person he is just to get that move done. I mean, Michael Lander, what a brilliant job there. He was on those soft tyres. He's absolutely flying out there at the moment. There's quite a lot of people on those soft tyres, actually. The only people not on the soft tyres on the dries are Jay and Joe Kempson, who are on the inters. And we've got Mark with the C. He's got past Malone in the Renault, and he's up to P8. So he's getting a good comeback there in the Mercedes. That's great to see. Get your Totos in the chat. Oh!
Has a little Tokyo drift out the final corner, and actually it was Maloney who had the overtake and just locked up in the hairpin, and Mark Wilson regained his position, so didn't really last long because Maloney did get past and he's up to P7 again, as Joe, I think, received yet another penalty.
And he's out.
And he has retired from the race, I think, which is, I think, understandable. I think he's not going to get anywhere in the race. So a bit unfortunate for the Red Bull driver, and Joe, obviously he is the character. We love him, of course, in our community. And unfortunately, his race is done and dusted. But the man, unfortunately, who's had a bit of an unlucky race, Jess, is Chasen, who started on pole position and is dropped to P9. But he's in now the scrap for P7 with, of course, Malone and also Mark with a C. Is actually Chasen's going to try and get a cheeky move here, maybe into the double left-hander here in the middle sector. And he's done it, actually. He's going for the move, and that is a fantastic move, I have to say. And they're still going side by side. And Chasen gives him the room as well, and he gets the job done. That's a lovely move, and he moves up to P8 there, Jess. Great move.
Wow, Chasen, he's coming back like a vengeance, and this may benefit him towards the end of the race, actually. And everyone is on the dry tyres now, so that means, and the rain is, I think, not going to be enough for them to go onto the inters anyway. So it's going to be a sprint to the finish for these guys, and the only positions that could change is for the race leaders.
Oh, Whitestorm, I think, just locked up there going into the tight right-hand hairpin there. He locked up, nearly going to the back of the Williams there. But thankfully, no contact whatsoever. But he's only a second away, Jess. So this is not over yet for the provisional, obviously, P1 position, because we know there are penalties that will be pended, of course, and we'll give you the official results on the Discord server. But it looks like if Seppi can keep up with the pace, he could legitimately win this race. But the man of the hour, you've got to say, Jess, Silver Darling, T-Boy, P4. Yes. Impressive performance. And he's only had the game, Jess, for a few days as well on PC.
Oh, so he's had it on PS4. Has he had it on PS4, or was it just...
He's had it on Xbox. He's an Xbox driver.
Ah.
And he's come to PC. He's only here for a couple of days, and he's in P4, which is a stellar job.
Fair
and he's
play.
got
Fair play.
Fair play.
And your punishment for getting P4, can we have some tea at the end of this race, please?
I would like a cup of tea with 2 sugars, T-Boy. That'd be great. Thank you very much, because I need it. But anyway, on to the final lap of the race then. Michael Lander still leads, but it's only half a second gap as Whitestorm gets the DRS. Down the straight we go. And as I said, guys, thank you all for coming to this, as we've just hit 100 viewers, Jess, going into the final lap of the race. So thank you to everyone who's come out for this one. Not very good organisation from me, I'm not going to lie, with time zones. So you can all put bottles in chat for me, and mods, I put on a bottle count for that, please. That'd be fantastic.
Nice.
As actually, I think I think Whitestorm made Michael Landa made a mistake actually going into turn 1, and then you can see Whitestorm all over the back of the Williams. This is going to be very spicy, isn't it, Jess? It's going to come down to the wire.
Spicy finish. This is what we like to see here in the first E-Prix on the PC side for the Chinese Grand Prix. And two very good drivers to end this race on, which is great to see. As well as always, a little bit of a touch from Whitestorm and Michael Landa. One of them broke a little bit too late there, but Maloney is out of the session. He's retired, so he's probably going to be the last retirement of this race. That pushes Mark into P8, but this is going to be a very tight finish. The rain is getting a bit harder than usual, so it's going to be a bit difficult.
Oh, and Whitestorm!
He's going to go for it. He's going to try and go to the inside, but that didn't quite work. He's got a few more chances to get this move on this back straight then. Obviously, he's running out of fuel there, but Michael Landa's gone a bit too deep into that corner, as I think Whitestorm's possibly going to take the win on track, unless Michael Landa can hold on to the inside line here, which he's going to try to at least. We've got a few more corners to go. Let's see who can take advantage here. We've got Whitestorm. Here he goes onto the inside.
Oh, he's gone too deep, Jess.
As well. They are struggling here. So
they are indeed. Sorry, Jess, I've got to cut you off there, as here comes Michael Landa coming into the final corner, who provisionally is going to win the first PC E-Prix race here in China. An absolute brilliant performance from the pair of them, as he actually gets a penalty for not serving a 5-second stop and go there. So he gets provisionally P1. Silver gets 3rd place. An absolute amazing job from him. As you know, Seppi gets back up to P3, so a bit of an issue with the timings there, but Seppi gets the final podium position. Silver has to be driver of the day for me in P4. Mark gets P5 as he's coming round towards the final corner. Probably the most unluckiest, has been so unlucky in this race. He was leading at one point, and it got, unfortunately, some penalties, as Silver got a penalty for hitting a bot. So unfortunately, Silver's penalty will get reversed for that because it wasn't his fault. So I think he will get P3 in the end, unless Seppi got a penalty. Mark crosses the line in P6, as I mentioned. Chasen is starting on pole position. Unfortunately, drops to P7 as we wait for Mark with a C coming through in P8. With Jay coming over in P9 as he had to pit off the intermediates. And Rexon, who is his bot actually, is going to come home in P10. And Matthew's bot.
So Mr. Camber will be P10.
Yeah, that is true. Mr. Camber will finish in P10, as we will exclude the bots from the race, of course, as they are actually not the actual people there. As Kirby, though, as well, who's had unfortunate racing there as well. He had some mistakes as well. He's going to come home in P11 provisionally as well. But that was an absolute carnage of a race that I've got to say, Jess. We've had everything. Safety cars, rain, virtual safety cars, everything. It's been an absolute bonkers race, but entertaining at the same time.
I've enjoyed this afternoon. It's been brilliant, and especially watching that battle at the end between our race leaders, Whitestorm and Michael Landa as well. Both of them played a really good part in this race, and they did a phenomenal job. But I have to say, I got to agree with you. Silver's Darling has got to be our driver of the day, and we'll find out soon who is your driver of the day. I'll get the results up whilst we do the interviews. But yeah, it's been absolutely superb, and I can't wait. We can't wait to do all this all over again. Soon in Australia, not Vietnam, because Vietnam's not in this game yet. Indeed,
and I can confirm, Jess, that Mark is the first Pro Street Sim driver of the day with 70% of the vote.
Wow.
So well done to Mark. Good job, mate. You deserve it. He was unlucky. But Jess, do you want to take through the viewers the final classifications, the provisional classifications for the first E-Prix race on PC?
Okay, so here's your unofficial results here. We got Michael Landa taking the win with Whitestorm in the Ferrari in second. Then we got Zeppe in third. And Michael Landa from 16th to 1st. Wow, he's done a good job. We got Rick in 5th, Mark 6th, chasing 7th, Mark with a C 8th, Jay 9th, and then Mr. Camber is, well, actually, no, Kirby's got 10th, as Camber's got penalties, and everybody else has either had a bot or has either retired, so a bit of a shame for that. And I do believe you said earlier you were going to do interviews. Am I right, Ryan?
We are indeed just going to get a couple of drivers in. We want to just bring a couple in who are actually on the Discord server. So if you are in this race and want a cheeky interview, make sure to drop into the Discord call and we will bring you in as soon as possible. But I think we're going to bring in, I think for us, the driver of the day. So we're going to bring him in right now from the commentator's perspective. It is indeed T-Boy. Hello, T-Boy.
Oh, hello. What?
Can I have tea, no sugar, please?
If you want. I was speaking to Jay 30 seconds ago. Now I'm not.
Not anymore. You're in the commentary booth right there. So,
Oh, I'm terrified.
for you, Silver, we have given you Driver of the Day.
Very much. I was listening to the stream for the whole race. You boys kept me invested. Half the race I was doing absolutely nothing. Sorry, Mark. You don't deserve it, mate.
So Silver, obviously, take us through your mindset in that last 10 laps, because that was a very interesting final 10 laps with the mixed changeable conditions.
Yeah. I had a pit stop for the mediums. The lap the safety car came out, I was scheduled to pit anyway, which was that was first safety car. That was just pure blind luck. Then, as the safety car was ending, I got brake checked. It wasn't anyone's fault. It was just bunching up into the hairpin. Lost my front wing. Had to pit again. Stuck the softs on because I thought, meme it. That was literally my thinking. Just I'm gonna finish last otherwise. So I stuck the softs on. Safety car came out again. Caught up with everybody. Everyone was on inters, so I overtook about 4 cars because they were slowing. Then sort of in no man's land in 4th, the final kind of 5 laps, top 3 had just bolted. And then on the last lap, Seppi makes a mistake coming onto the back straight. I overtake him for 3rd, and bleh happens. Just absolutely crazy for me.
It is indeed, but you did a stellar job though. You had everything, mate. So don't knock yourself down.
I just got lucky.
You just got lucky,
and yeah.
Well, to finish first, you first have to finish. So you know,
yeah,
and
I
you
suppose.
finished. So good job there. And when you crossed the line to take that position, were you just in shock? What were your thoughts when you crossed the line at the end?
I'd seen that I overtaken Seppi on the back straight, so I thought I was in 3rd on track, but I knew I had a penalty because I hit Rexon. But after the second safety car, the bot was just doing stupid things. I got basically side pod glitched into him, obviously gave me a 5-second penalty past the time of day, I guess, the game. So I knew that he would get 3rd, which bit of a pain that I don't get to be on the podium, but it was still like, yeah, 4th on game is just a great result, I guess.
It is indeed. And Silver, do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Mark, because I took his driver for the day, I guess. So hi, Mark.
Mark with a K. Mark with a K.
Mark, I took his driver for the day, so I think I better give him a shout out.
And for that performance, T-Boy, you're now Coffee Boy, so you can change your name to Coffee Boy now. So
you got the promotion. Finally.
Are you taking part in the next race, in the next E-Prix? Do you think?
If you have me, yeah. I think it's Australia next.
Yeah,
well,
it is.
Quotes Vietnam.
Vietnam, yeah. So Vietnam, definitely Vietnam. Yeah, I'll be there.
Which should be good. So Silver, T-Boy, Coffee Boy, whatever you want to call him, the legend himself. Thank you, mate, for joining us, and we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, cheers.
Bye, drink boy.
Is indeed. So now we're going to bring in the man of the hour, the unluckiest driver in this E-Prix race. It's the one and only, the viewers' driver of the day, sponsored by Pro Street Sim. It is, of course, the admin of the server. It's Mark. Hello, Mark.
Well, you gotta say the luckiest man at F1 2019. Indeed.
You were so unlucky, but tell us your thoughts of the safety car, which we explained to Silver that it was just unpredictable. So, what was your mindset when that safety car came out and when the rain arrived? What were you thinking?
I wanted to stay out because if rain happens, then I don't need to pit for an extra set of tires before having to do it before. So I just went 2 mediums and waited for inters, but inters rain never came, so fuck that, going soft.
And we do apologize for swearing, but this is not a PG stream, just to let you know.
Is this a Christian server?
Oh no, Mark.
Oh god, but obviously, Mark, you were very, very late to the party, and obviously did a bit of an oopsie, as you well know, for joining as a driver and not as a steward. So a bit of a flop from you, but it's a blessing in disguise if you think about it with your great performance today.
I mean, I had no practice. I took an old setup from the AOR days and didn't adjust the setup. So I'm kind of happy for my P6. Even though I got unlucky with the penalties, but it's just the game, so I cannot be bothered.
The audience must be very happy with that result, as about 70% of the viewers vote for your driver of the day. So you must be doing something right, I must say.
Well, all I'm gonna say is ACC, I'm coming for your level.
Oh.
Indeed, as Mark has just plugged our next community race, which is on ACC, a set to Competizione. So Mark is obviously going to try and redeem himself from up into Zandvoort. So. Which we won't mention on stream. But Mark, before we let you go, have you got any shout-outs or anyone you want to thank?
Thank Jake for being the best Jeff ever.
Hey! I thought you were.
And also Alex.
He is not in the chat, but he's in spirit. We love him. So yes. Anyone else, Mark, you forgetting? Be wise with what you say next.
Is it because you want a shout out?
No, of course not.
Okay. I Tom, you are the best streamer ever.
Oh god. So Mark, final question from us. Will you be taking part in the next one, which is going to be in Australia, which will replicate Vietnam, as Vietnam's not in the game?
I thought Vietnam was today.
No.
And then China later.
Yeah, because Ryan did a bottle for thinking China.
No,
was
I
meant
mean
to be
he
this
cannot
weekend.
put Vietnam Grand Prix in when it's not even in the game. So.
No, so.
But I don't know, cause I just wanted to be a steward and just.
You jumped in. So Mark to race next race confirmed.
No.
Yes.
I can hear you're gonna force my hand.
We'll ask that
You will.
question in a week's time when the next E-Prix, well, I don't know when it is, but we'll ask that question again and see what the answer is that time.
Wow.
So Mark, thank you for joining us, and we'll speak to you very shortly, obviously off air. But thank you for racing at very short notice and doing a stellar job. So thank you, mate.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. So Jess, that's going to wrap it up for us. As it's been a good race, I've got to say, very impressive. If everyone kept it, mainly it was clean all race, which is very good to see for an E-Prix community race. So your final thoughts?
Yeah, it's been a great race to watch, and they learned from the best, obviously, because we have the best open lobbies around. So, yeah, thank you for having me in the commentary box, Ryan. It's been a lot of fun.
Indeed, indeed. So, guys, we're going to wrap things up now on stream. However, as some of you may or may not know, I like to host some smaller streamers who are on F1. So we're going to raid a F1 Twitch streamer who's sadly hasn't got many people watching him. So we're going to make his day. The person in question is now on screen right now. His name, and you can see my lovely face, so behind the scenes, Ryan. Hello, guys. Right now. So the man is Banshee2X. So go and check him out, guys. Go and give him some love from me. And today's word, guys, is Toto again. So all of you in chat who are subscribers, please use the Toto emote on his chat. If you're not, then use... Oh, shit. I've just hosted already, Jess. So anyway, we'll just go and raid him, guys. Oh, we've just given some shot there. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys very soon. So take care all. And enjoy the stream, guys, from him. So take care, guys. Toodles.